Good morning, everyone, and welcome to church.
Good morning.
Good morning, those of you on stream. It's great to see you with us. Great to imagine you with us. Have a fantastic morning. We've got some great things in store today. We're singing, we're praying, we're playing games, we're doing all sorts of stuff, and we're focusing on Jesus, the bread of life. Would you like to stand with me if you're able? Even at home in your lounge rooms or bedrooms? Get your hands warmed up and down, up and down, up and down. We're going to have to use our hands a little bit this morning. Give them a shake. All right, are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Oh yes, that's awesome. Let's do it in time, shall we? Here we go. All my life, all I know, God's been good, good to my soul. Mountain high, valley low, I'm gonna sing wherever I go. Am I in the right key? Right. All my life, all I know, God's been good, good to my soul. Mountain high, valley low, I'm gonna sing wherever I go. God is for me, He's not against me. I will hold to the plans He has for me. When I'm broken, He will fix me. I will call on the name of the Lord. All my life, all I know, God's been good, good to my soul. Mountain high, valley low, I'm gonna sing wherever I go. Here's my heart's song in my sorrow. He's my hope and my strength for tomorrow. When the storms rise all around me, I will call on the name of the Lord. All my life, all I know, God's been good, good to my soul. Mountain high, valley low, I'm gonna sing wherever I go. I got joy, 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 deep in my soul. I will sing, 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 wherever I go. Let's do that again, shall we? I got joy, 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 deep in my soul. I will sing, 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 wherever I go. All my life, all I know, God's been good, good to my soul. Mountain high, valley low, I'm gonna sing wherever I go. All my life, all I know, God's been good, good to my soul. Mountain high, valley low, I'm gonna sing wherever I go. Well done. Was that in the right key? Yes. It was. That's a blessing. There's always a first, isn't it? It's great to have you all with us today. Let's just zoom in and focus on Jesus right now, shall we? And just praise and thank Him with joy in our hearts. Let's do this song. I honestly can't remember. Yes, I can. Nothing is impossible through Jesus. Through you, I can do anything. I can do all things, 'cause it's you who gives me strength. Nothing is impossible through you. My eyes are open, strongholds are broken. I am living by faith. gives me strength. Nothing is impossible through you. Blinders are open, strongholds are broken. I am living by faith. Nothing is impossible. I believe, I believe. I believe, I believe in you. I believe, I believe. I believe, I believe in you.
Well, you wouldn't believe it, but for the first time in 3 years live streaming church, our internet dropped out partway through church. So I thought I would record the sermon so that you at least wouldn't miss out on what God was saying through His word to us today. Keeping on our theme of I am the bread of life. Today we're going to be talking about the feeding of the 5,000 from John chapter 6 verse 1 to 14. Now if you have a look in the description below, there's a link to a YouTube clip of Jesus' Storybook Bible recording of this scripture. It's really, really good. So I encourage you maybe to pause now, jump on that link, watch the Bible story, and then come back and continue on. So I want to ask a question. Does anyone get hangry? You know, combination of angry because you're hungry. Anyone hangry now? I hope not. Sometimes I got hangry in the afternoon and I realised, oops, I forgot to have lunch. Have you ever had a day where you've been working hard either at home or at work, or maybe you've been playing in the playground or on a games console or something like that and you've forgotten to eat, forgotten to get yourself some food? Has that happened to anyone else, or is that just me? Do you know there are some schools that have started having a dedicated time for kids to eat so that they don't forget? 12 o'clock is food eating time, which is well before playtime. There's a time of study before they go out from eating time to playtime. Why do they do this? Because kids get too busy, too excited about playing, and they forget to eat. And teachers are finding in the afternoon that they're getting cranky and they're slowing down because they've forgotten to have their lunch. Well, in the Bible reading that we just watched, it may be what was happening. It describes a big crowd, in fact, a crowd of about 5,000, and they only counted men back then. So if you added the women and the children, it's probably about 15,000 people. And these people had been listening to Jesus talk, but they'd forgotten to eat. No one had brought any food with them, and I'm wondering whether maybe the disciples were worried if this large crowd was going to get hangry all at once. But the question I ask myself is, why didn't people prepare? Why did no one think to bring any food with them? I mean, seriously, we can't go anywhere without taking some fruit and some bickies and some water with us. Why was there only one boy and the whole crowd of the possible 15,000 people who had food with him? Was this boy the only one whose mum told him to take some food? A bit like a mum telling us to take our jumpers because they're cold, not because we're cold. And do you think this boy wanted to carry the food around with him all day? Of course, they didn't have eskies or backpacks, so he would have had a big basket that he would have had to carry around. And what if he wanted to go and play with the other kids? The passage of scripture that we watched can be found in all four Gospels of Jesus, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. And it is set on the eastern shore of the Sea of Galilee. Not in a town or in a city, but in a place and in a time where just surviving was hard work. The people who lived here would have been either farmers who worked the soil to grow crops, or maybe fishermen. And most of their work was done just to be able to eat each day. For the people who are recorded here listening to Jesus, this is what they would have taken up most of their lives. This is where they would have spent most of their time. So for them to not be working, but to have stopped and sat for so long listening to Jesus was huge. If they didn't work, they didn't eat. But Jesus does this amazing miracle and feeds the whole crowd with the boy's small lunch. We wonder, how was any of this possible? Feeding all those people. I mean, how could it be possible to eat 15,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fish and have some left over? We would say that's impossible. It doesn't matter that we think something is impossible. Nothing is impossible for God. Mark 10:27 says, with man this is impossible, but not with God. All things are possible with God. He is the one that we read about in Genesis, the first book of the Bible, who made everything, all the heavens and the earth from nothing, nothing. So surely Jesus can make this impossible feast happen from one small lunch. I love the way that the Jesus Storybook Bible finishes telling the story. That from the beginning of time, God had been taking the nothing and making it everything, taking the emptiness and filling it up, taking the darkness and making it light. This is what God has done and continues to do to this day. And it's what he can do and wants to do for you as well. You know, sometimes we think we are nothing. Sometimes we feel empty, and sometimes we feel like we are living in a darkness which can make us feel alone and feel very small, even if we're part of a big crowd, a bit like the little boy with a little lunch. But the thing is, if you have a little something that might not seem like much to you, and even your closest friends may think it's nothing, but if you have a little and you are brave enough to believe, not in the impossible, but the one who makes anything possible, if you are brave enough to believe in Jesus and you hand your little over to him, wow, what could he do in your life? And not just enough to make a difference in your life, but he wants for everyone around you to experience this difference as well. The boy who gave up his small lunch could have been forgiven for thinking, why did I do that? What am I going to eat now? But when the boy gave his little lunch to Jesus, it didn't just help him. He didn't just get a bigger lunch. Everyone around him got a lunch, something they didn't have before. And Scripture tells us that everyone was full, including the little boy as well. When you give your little over to Jesus, it's not about making a difference in your life. It's about making a difference in the lives of those around you as well, those in your oikos. Jesus is asking you today, what little thing do you have? Not so you can feel small or inadequate, but so he can do a miracle in your life and do it abundantly so that it not only benefits you, but benefits others as well, as long as you are willing to give him your little. So friends, I hope that this has been a benefit to you. Give him your little and watch him do amazing things. God bless you this week. I'm sorry it's a little different, but I'm sure you'll understand. We'll be back next Sunday, 10 a.m, live streaming, as long as the internet holds out, please God. And we'd love to see you join us then. God bless.